Welcome to the podcast. I'm thrilled to bring you my guest today, who's a talented singer-songwriter named Kevin Herig. Kevin is just about to drop his third album as a solo artist, and that's going to be available everywhere December 7th. I'm, of course, going to include some links to his website so you can keep up on that, as well as his single, which is just about to drop November 9th. That's right, this Friday, called Honeyless Bee. We're going to hear a bit of that right before our conversation, as well as another track towards the end, actually right at the end, called Little Brother. I really appreciate Kevin coming on, and it was great to pick his brain about his creative process when it comes to dissecting songs, from bringing them into existence with other members, aka being in a band like Aspercourt, which is how I came to know Kevin, and now doing it as a solo artist and still having your collaborators, but really writing in a more personal sense. I really appreciated the opportunity to get down and talk with this guy that I've admired for so long about what it's like to write. This podcast is called Art Talk Music, and I definitely strive to dissect this creative side of all of us and realize what that process is like. And I appreciate him for coming on. You're going to really enjoy this track. I'm going to shut up and let you enjoy Honeyless Bee by the great, talented Mr. Kevin Herig.
You cut your thumb and missed the whole ride up. With a last to get your grub. Swimming in a crowd, a song of fading love, drowning them out. You'll grab my shoulder when you've had enough. But when the day's parades catch up to you, but for now you ate it up. Have you no high, or have you no queen? A honeyless bee, such a simple curiosity, and not an ounce of what you thought you need, and you found everything. Heavy-eyed and tousled-haired, we wend our way outside of town.
Senor Kevin Herig, thank you for being on Art Talk Music, my man. What's happening?
Hey,
brother?
good morning.
Good morning.
Just
I know.
getting my headphones adjusted.
Bright and early. You sounding all right over there? A little bit louder. You good?
Check, check, check. Yeah, that sounds great to me.
Beautiful, my man. It's great to see you, and great to kind of catch up with you about everything you've been up to in your travels and your musical endeavors and stuff, man. Now, tell me what the summer has been like. I mean, I know you've been doing a lot with the school, and you had some pretty intensive stuff during the summer, right? Before school kind of got in. I know it's already October, but
oh yeah, no, summer's the crazy time, and so I run this music program here in Albuquerque called Rock 101 Music Academy, and it's great fun. Started 8 years ago. I graduated from UNM with this business plan in hand that I actually wrote in one of my classes.
Are you serious?
Yeah, I have to come up with something to present, and I'm like, it'd be cool to do like a rock and roll camp for kids, and playing in a band all through high school and college was amazing. Like that's where the magic. Yeah, that's where the magic in music is.
That's how I knew you.
Yeah, nice.
Yeah, man. Yeah, I remember I was in a fraternity. I mean, I was in a fraternity that was starting to try and re-chapter, but amidst going to all the parties with the girls and stuff, it was like, oh my God, Aspercourt is playing. It's just like the vibe, It's like that's how I came to know you guys, as well as like the talent shows or the battle of the bands and stuff like that. And, and your sweet angelic voice, bro.
Oh goodness. But yeah, as you know, that's the bands. That's where it's at, and that's where it's really fun. And so. Yeah, the whole idea, the whole concept behind Rock 101 was an opportunity for these kids to get together. Our tagline is empowering youth through music, and so it's just getting them together to collaborate and to start bands, see what that is like, and see what it's like to not only compromise but to collaborate in music, and to record, and everything is geared towards those Friday concerts. So they're week-long sessions, all day, completely like immersed in the rock, and then they get to perform in front of their family, their friends, their boyfriends, girlfriends. these kids.
Man.
And it's great. And so we do 8 weeks of that. Our first summer I think we had 30 kids sign up, and
wow.
we were jazzed. We were stoked. It's our first time doing it. I called a bunch of community centers and churches, and finally this church ended up being right down the street from where I grew up. And they said, yeah, like come in. And at the time they had something in their mind. They really wanted to talk with me about starting a youth band at the church, and they had all these plans. And so kind of underneath the table, they're like, well, maybe like we'll let you do your camp here. You didn't have to pay, the first summer, but will you be our vacation Bible school band?
The kicker, yeah.
All of our instructors, which was great fun. We learned all these fun like church songs, and we played in front of like 300 kids. We were the pearly gates, and that was our trade for the first 3 years. We were the vacation Bible school band, and we got to host out of this church. And the model just worked out great. Just being able to spend less on the overhead of the actual building, but offer prices for kids who normally wouldn't be able to pursue music.
That's
to
beautiful,
be able to come to Rock 101 and pay our instructor as well and whatnot. But now we're 8 years in, and
8 years in, man. Congratulations. That's amazing, bro. When did you graduate, by the way? 2011?
11. Yeah.
And high school, 2005?
7.
Oh, snap. Where'd you go to high school?
Eldo.
I'm sorry to hear that, my man.
Well, where'd you go?
Manzano High School.
Ooh. Monarchs.
Down the street rivals, bro.
I think Eagles eat Monarchs. I don't know.
Oh.
They pluck out their eyeballs.
I definitely think, a lot of Monarchs would be beating up some of the Eldoradoans on the soccer team from my memories, as well as the jazz bands, what I mean?
No, I had good
and
friends
the choirs.
from Manzano, it's all
Mrs.
good.
Clark. Go, Ms. Erickson. No, I'm just teasing. You were in choir though, right?
No,
you didn't do any choir.
I did choir.
You remember you were telling me that you were just in a band in high school, right?
Yeah, I mean, I didn't really do any music in school. I didn't do the band. I did, the stuff you had to do, like the recorder and piano class and stuff. But no, I never.
Were you a jock at all, or what were you like in high school, bro?
Yeah, I was playing. I started playing guitar in 6th grade because my brother did. And I wanted to be like Mitch. He's 3 years older than me. So my first guitar was his guitar. I would steal it in practice, and he got mad, and he got his new guitar. My mom, my parents got me my own guitar. But so I love sports, and I still do. Like I played soccer, and I played basketball. I even wrestled freshman year of high school.
Nice.
And I played guitar kind of the whole time, and that kind of became more of my identity too. I know I was like more of an athlete, but then my later years of high school, being a musician was more of an identity. And so that's when I met my buddy Heath Warren, who was our first drummer, or was our drummer in Aspercourt. And then his next door neighbor, Nate, who at the time, he could play a little bit, but he was very choppy and was just learning. And it wasn't until 4 years later where he, blew us all out of the water, and he was this killer lead guitarist. But we all grew together, and it was cool. We were watching this guy Matt Beston play. Sometimes at El Dorado, some bands would play on the stage during lunch, which was a cool thing that they did. And this guy just ripped it. And he's played slap bass, and he was like soloing on the bass, something that we've never even seen before. And Nate, Heath's next door neighbor, who our lead guitarist was, he was friends with him, and he convinced him to come to a band practice at my house. And we played this one song that he loved. It's the first song I ever wrote about like playing poker and like being home late and stuff, called TikTok. And he really liked this song. That was like our ticket, because we're like, I don't know if he's gonna like our music, if he's gonna think we're cool enough. And because he played like this really heavy rock, really kind of math rock kind of style. But yeah, he's like, I love TikTok. He's like, I love playing this. Like, I would love to join the band. So it was kind of set.
Damn.
And then my brother-in-law played some piano. I grew up listening to him playing my parents' clunky little piano, and I asked him if he'd want to join the band, and there was Aspercourt.
Wow. So
back in the day.
That formed when? Your senior year of high school, or you're into college?
I think we started jamming junior year. It was like
junior year of high school.
Yeah, we had like our first official gig senior year, because I remember playing at this girl Rebecca's graduation party, and that was like that was our first gig.
Wow, man.
Yep. And then I continued playing all through college. We lived, all the boys lived together, and Yeah, like you said, the UNM Battle of the Bands, that was like when things became real. We're like, let's do this Battle of the Bands. We ended up winning the Battle of the Bands.
That's right, man.
So we got to play this, it's called Fiestas, the big
a
festival
wonderful
on
event
UNM. Yeah, so we got to play with some bigger acts, and probably blew up our heads a little bit more than need to be. We were young and impressionable.
No, but like on the tip of Aspercourt, you guys actually did get some acclaim and kind of move in some directions of possibly signing or doing some other things. I mean, right?
Yeah, we got a glimpse into that world for sure. Mm-hmm. We probably the coolest thing, we played this show at Launchpad with at the time one of our favorite bands. They were called Barcelona. From Seattle, and we got on this bill because we became good friends with Joe Anderson, who books at Launchpad and Sunshine Theater.
Yeah.
And we talked with the lead singer Brian Fennell, who's now doing this band. His music is called Syml, SYML, and he's killing it. He's doing really great. But he asked us if we'd be interested in going up to Seattle and recording with him, and this was like mind blowing for us. Like, wow. What we get to, like, our producer's going to be one of our favorite lead singers in this band that we're all hyped on. So we flew out to Seattle. We did our second album there, our EP called The Air You Breathe.
Yeah. What year was this? Just
give me some context. Let's see. Gosh, I think it came out 2 years before my solo record came out. So 2010 or 2011.
Nice.
I think is when that happened. But yeah, we recorded up there with Brian Fennell, and in the studio while we were recording this song, Alan Stone, do you know Alan Stone?
Of course, yeah.
He's killing it. He jumped.
Ryan freaking loves him.
Yeah, he came into the studio.
What?
And he was listening to the song, and we're like, is that like this is before Alan Stone was big? Like we had seen him, we'd heard about him through Brian. We're like, whoa, this guy's sick.
Does Ryan know this story?
No, I don't know if he does.
Oh man.
Oh yeah.
He loves Alan Stone.
So it's probably maybe 3 or 4 months after that, Alan Stone blew up. Wow. Like, whoa, that guy listened to our song.
Do you know if he was just living in Seattle or we just happened to be there?
Yeah, he lives there.
Wow, okay.
Yeah, that's like, he's homegrown. So like all those guys, we got to kind of see into that little world a bit.
Sick,
where he's buds with Macklemore and...
Right. That's such a scene in Seattle, man. I still have yet to go up there, but I dream of going up to that city, man.
Yeah. So we were very young, but we got to kind of glimpse it. And
so you did an EP with them, you said? It was what, 4 or 5 songs?
Yeah, we had 4 songs.
And then and what happened with that?
Yeah, so from there, I mean, you made like our first music video, and then we got to play at Sunshine Theater for our first time.
Wow.
All these really cool things. We went on our first tour. And so we got to, I don't know, it was tough kind of navigating being that young, so fresh into this scene. Like we ended Aspercourt when there's like all these doors opening and all these possibilities, because it felt personally like it was, I don't know, the music was kind of shifting, and like the motivation behind making music was different. It was, I didn't want the popularity or the fame or anything to navigate the music, and I think that's where it was tugging. And so on top of a lot of other things, I just don't know if everyone's heart was in it for the right reason or
right.
what.
Right.
We kind of all agreed, and it was a nice hiatus that we went on that eventually turned into a permanent hiatus. But my brother-in-law had just, my niece was born, and he had another on the way, and Matt Beston, he had a baby, and Nate was wanting to pursue other things. And so for Heath, I think it was tough because, and me and him, that was like, we were the creators, and so, thankfully Heath is still, making music. He's, he came and listened to these new songs on this new record that I'm going to put out, and, still collaborating with him. And
awesome.
But it was a good experience. We learned a lot. We got a bunch of fun opportunities and exposure. But, I think entering into this next endeavor, doing a solo project, I know kind of what parts of that music industry I like, and what part of just music I want to cater to.
Yeah. Sure. I think a lot of musicians run into that issue. It's something Ryan and I were talking about quite a bit, in terms of musicians wanted to pay attention to that stuff and not, I mean, even with the guys I was just podcasting with in New Orleans, it's like, for so long you put so much attention and you put your love and your artistry, your craft first, and then to all of a sudden see the other side, the underbelly of really what it is, and why people say, like, you know, you get paid to go on the road, not to play. Like, the playing is for free. Like, that stuff is you do it because you love it, you know. But you're paid because you got to travel, you got to go through airports, you got to miss flights, you got to, you know, whatever. That's the experience. And then for us as, you know, maybe as band leaders or at least as creators ourselves that now have solo careers, we have to think about ourselves, the legal side of things, being DIY with our business and understanding what publishing and copywriting is, just to prepare ourselves, you know what I mean? And beyond that, just to have our own stuff together more so than ever, like YouTube and our social medias. And, you know, it's like there's a lot more to it than what we signed up initially for.
There was. Yeah. And I'm not sure if we just you know, had the groundwork laid out to receive all of that stuff at once. You know, it started with us just recording on a little rinky-dink mic in our office, you know, and we handed out these demo CDs to our friends at school, and it kind of grew in this very organic way. And so whenever we're thinking about, like getting a publisher and like, where's this money going? And then like, we had like a band fund, and, you know, the finances were never an issue or anything, but just, like you're saying, just like a lot at once. And we were just young and naive, and we had our mentors, and we did learn a lot. But at the end, it was just like let's kind of take what we've learned here and let's pursue other things. And it was a good decision for all of us.
So now the ending of Aspercore was around what year? 2012, 11, 12, 13?
12, I think. Mm-hmm.
Got you. And then around then is when you started. You said you just had your sixth. Is that right? The sixth, eighth year
of rock and roll.
Of rock and roll.
Yeah. So we had. Yeah, that was we split up. I think the second year of the Rock 101.
Wow.
Yeah.
Okay. All right.
But
so you'd already started
right after
that
we
stuff.
had kind of took a break from Aspercore, I still had all these songs and that I was writing, and so I decided to record an album.
Do your own thing.
Yeah, Heath played drums on that one, and Nate, a bunch of the guys in Aspercore still.
Where did you record that first album? That solo album?
That was Wallace Sound Studio with John Wall.
Beautiful.
Here in Albuquerque.
Yeah,
it was great. It was really fun. It was a 10-song album, and still songs that I'll play now. It was a really great experience. And then
awesome.
A couple years after that, an album, an EP called All You Can't Control. And then now in a month or two, a new one going to be called Stubborn Heart.
Stubborn Heart. Yeah. Tell me the concept behind that album title. That's one of the songs, I'm guessing, on the album.
It's a lyric in the first song. The first song's SS Palo Alto, and I think the lyric is, if a stubborn heart could have its way, I'd lasso down that star and take us far away.
Say it again.
If a stubborn heart could have its way, I'd lasso down that star, let it burn and take us far away.
That's beautiful, man.
Thanks.
Lasso the star.
This song about this ship up in California called SS Palo Alto, actually, and its maiden voyage was, to get to the coast of California, and it was this ship that was there that turned into a restaurant, and then it got taken over by seals and all these birds and wildlife, and then this ship is just like the staple of this community, and it's it's just like learning about this ship. It kind of took on this metaphor and this personification where that song SS Palo Alto was actually like me, boarding the ship, and it had been 2 years since I had gotten back to Aptos, this sanctuary for me. I always go up to this place.
Where is that's in California?
It's it's like south of Santa Cruz.
Got you.
And it's this wonderful, little place. It's called the Shack. This little house that actually, my buddy Nate Boitano's is his family's, and so we went up there with Aspercore back in the day, and we would write songs and record. And
so you got some juju, some history up there.
Yeah, so I've been kind of grandfathered in, and Kay and my wife, go up there. We try to go every couple years or so, and it's always just ripe for writing songs. And so
that's beautiful, man.
Yeah, so starts out, has it really been 2 years since I've set my anchors down? That's the first lyric in SS Palo Alto, and that was me. It'd been 2 years since we had been back to Aptos, and really needed like a reset at that time in my life. And kind of personified the ship in that way.
That's awesome. Yeah. So tell me a little bit about the single of the album. What's that?
Yeah, we're going to release Honeyless Bee first. Yeah. Have you no hive, have you no queen, a honeyless bee. Not an ounce of what you thought you'd need, and you found everything. So that's like the chorus of the song. Yeah, there's a story behind that one. So one of our Rock 101 students, this was a couple years back, we were going to be taking a bunch of Rock 101 kids up to Taos to Devendra Banhart show. Have you heard of Devendra?
I don't know if I have.
He's wonderful. Yeah, you got to check him out. But a bunch of our kids are interested, and we're stoked on him. So, we had this trip kind of planned at the end of our Rock 101 day. This is in the summer. And one of our students cut her thumb pretty bad. And
oh, no.
Yeah, so I had to, like, run, and I'm squeamish, and I'm, like, wrapping up her thumb. And so she just kind of had this day. It was just tough. And I remember just driving up and in the big 12-seater van, and she was kind of like passing out, and she needed some food. And I mean, she was okay, but she was definitely feeling the day,
the hard time. Yeah.
And so I don't know, we got up to the venue, and she had told me on the way up, she's like, man, if he plays this song called Daniel, I'm gonna cry, I'm gonna lose it. And she just loves that song, and I remember feeling that way about music. It still happens, but it's rare, but like when you're that young and that impressionable.
Oh yeah, man, it's everything.
Everything is new, and you're just discovering all these new emotions, and so I was able to see that. And so anyways, he starts playing this song. Instantly, she like looks over with like these teary eyes, and I just I took her shoulder, and she just lost it. She just started crying, and it was so wonderful. My wife's to my right, and Allison is to my left, and I just get to like kind of hug her and have this experience with her. And it was super cool. And so that's kind of like what the chorus was about. The song was about the whole trip, but just kind of like in a day where nothing kind of goes as planned. And in life, nothing really goes as planned, but there you have those moments of clarity, and where everything kind of falls into place. Not an ounce of what you think you'd need, and somehow like you'll find everything. Like the truth will reveal itself. And so the next part is us kind of stopping on that the big gorge bridge and just yelling into that canyon and just being free. And it's just cool. The different generations, like where there's a bunch of instructors, they're 20s, late 20s, and then these Rock 101 kids, and just that we get to spend like this time together and connect with each other on this really cool level. It was just a wonderful experience. And so out came Honeyless Bee.
Wow.
Yeah.
I love it, and it features Mr. Ryan. Not features, but certainly has some beautiful sounding trumpet
features
on it.
No, your roommate and my good friend Ryan Montano plays trumpet on this song. Greg Williams played drums for the whole album. He's awesome. A couple other buddies played on it. My buddy David Tanner did some background singing. Heath, his idea, like he heard it, he's like, oh, you need to add like these cool little lines. He's all about like those poppy little lines, which I'm like, oh, hell yeah, I needed that. And so, Honeyless Bee kind of happens at the end. You can tell that's like, oh, Heath came up with that.
Musical input is the best, man.
Oh, so good.
Especially from friends that know your music and know your writing style so well.
Yeah.
Right.
Well, especially this last record, I did a lot of it myself, and it was such a learning experience. So we recorded
this last one, which was your first one, right? Or was it your second solo?
This so third, I guess. So we did.
This is going to be your third album that you're putting out right now,
yeah.
Right.
Full length, Give It All Away. EP was All You Can Control. This one's Stubborn Heart. And so we did all the backbones, the skeleton of the songs at Empty House Studios.
Yeah.
With Matthew Tobias. So we did he's a drummer, and so we wanted to get really good drum sounds, and we did.
And you got tremendous drum sounds.
Killer. So
Congrats,
with Matthew on the
badass.
Yeah, on the controls and Greg playing drums, it's really cool backbone. And so we got the drums, and I played the guitar live with Greg. I went back and did vocals there, but then I took all the stems home and was doing all my Logic tutorials alongside like actually trying to record this.
Yes.
So,
I know about that.
Yeah. So I had one mic that I recorded pretty much everything else on. I got to spend time finding guitar tones and trying out some organs, and I did all the shakers and background vocals, and
wow.
So I learned a ton, and it was cool. And so we kind of put that together, and I threw it all back to Matthew Tobias. He mixed it. We kind of collaborated on that, and then And then there you go.
What, if you don't mind me asking, what mic did you use? Did you just SM7B, or would you use?
Oh
man?
gosh, I'm so not like a gear nerd. I don't know. It's a XL V8 9.
Oh,
10.
nice.
Yeah.
Beautiful. Okay.
Yeah.
Is that a blue? Is that
It's
the
a red one. It's the red one.
Gotcha.
I borrowed it from Matt.
Nice,
yeah, it's
nice.
funny when everyone like tries to geek
Ask
out
about,
with me on gear. I'm like, yeah, man, I don't know.
I don't really know. I just fucking play through it. Yeah.
I have an MXL. That sounds like a right one.
Yeah,
right?
MXL is definitely a brand.
Yeah, black with the gold top. And I can't get it to sound right, so I don't know. The red one was good. I don't know, what's this? The Shure mic that Ryan used on the trumpet?
That's the one, yeah.
Oh my, that one's great.
That's an SM7B. It's a $400 mic, which is amazing.
Yeah.
It's considered the broadcasters, it is a broadcasting mic,
Sure.
you know what I mean? But that's the dream mic. But it being $400, these microphones that we're talking into are SM57s, just for anyone out there wondering. But we have these nice little windscreens on them, which actually, if you YouTube the presidential inaugurations of any of the presidents, when they do their speeches, they're speaking on two SM57s with these exact windscreens on them. So if they're good enough for the president, they're good enough to podcast with.
All right.
And there's a bunch of YouTube comparisons, comparison videos that make them sound exactly alike. But anyways, gear and all that stuff just gets in the way of really the craft. And so to talk a little bit about the craft, man, tell me a little bit about your writing process. I know obviously with Aspercourt you had, a group effort and stuff like that, but let's even talk before that, because I'm sure it sounds like to me music was incredibly personal and more of like a diary type thing, and not having any imposing direction of rules and regulations above you all the time must have been a totally different experience than mine. So I'm curious to hear what it was like, man.
Yeah, no, totally. So, I started writing in high school, and so I didn't have to worry about writing to pay the bills, and I'm lucky now that, I do Rock 101, and that takes care of the livelihood of things, and I don't have to write to pay the bills still, which is cool. And I think that, I don't know, I try not to rush the writing process, and like I said with Honeyless Bee, just kind of describing this, I just wanted like a snapshot of that moment, and it's gonna be floating around in my head until I put pen to paper and I start and I write it, and now I have that memory forever. It's like just a little picture for me. So most of the songs are about a relationship or about a person in particular, and I like building those parameters up when I write, like what's a specific thing. And I try to come to like a very focal point of like, what do I want to say here? And then let it expand from that point instead of trying to write narrowing in the whole time. I start from the inside out, kind of. If that makes sense.
Yeah, it does.
So
does that mean, just to stop you for a second, does that mean that you said pen to paper? Does that mean that you start with lyrics to capture the story and the vibe and the picture, paint the picture?
I guess it
first?
depends. I mean, so I have this whole thing on my phone, on my notes, where I have a ton of different anecdotes and different memories and something I might read in a book or
like on your notes app.
Yeah, on the notes app. Oh man, I have just a ton of things, that are potential starts of songs, that can just get me going. Sometimes I'll have some words gone. I never have all the lyrics for a song and then I put it to music. Maybe I'll have like a little seed of an idea in some lyrics, and then I have a bunch of seeds of musical things on the guitar, and so sometimes they just come together beautifully. Other times, it takes more. Like I'm okay to work for it, but definitely I'll stop whenever it doesn't feel right, or if I feel like I'm forcing something.
Let it be. I like that. I mean, there's definitely a way of letting things be that allows you to really marinate on the ideas, right? Mm-hmm. Especially because it sounds like you only could write in that same way where we're trying to paint the picture, and then that picture, even though it might not make sense right now, it's like you leave it for a couple months and then you come back to it and you're like, oh, okay, now this really makes sense. Like, I just have to change the perspective or whatever, But.
Absolutely. Yeah, and that's been the case for a lot of songs on this record. There's one called I Will Be Here. That's a tune that I was thinking on putting on the very first record in 2013. I had this little riff, and I had these lyrics that I had written about we had just moved into our house, and my wife was taking this nap, and I remember just starting to write about just like kind of watching her go, like drift off into her dreams. And yeah, and then it turned into this song that was a little bit deeper, and it just wasn't ready at that time. All those years ago, I had the 2 verses forever, and then it was just this year where I brought back that song, and yeah, with the perspective I have now, I added this chorus that that brought new light to the song. But yeah, I didn't feel like I wanted to finish that song. I need to get on this new record. And it's like, let's just like leave it for a little bit, and it'll open up when it's ready. And it did. And it's one of these songs on this record that it just came out of nowhere, and I'm excited about it.
That's beautiful. Now, what is it like to write with other people? I mean, when you were writing with Aspercourt, what was that collaborative process like? Would you come in with a whole idea? I'm sure it was different every time, as it is different every time. But what was a typical writing session like with you guys?
Yeah, so a typical writing session, I remember, being in the garage. Heath's parents let us take over their garage and put carpet in it, and that was our practice space.
Yeah.
So I would come with an idea, like I said, a little seed of an idea on the guitar, and Heath would be on the drums, and we would just jam. We'd jam for 20 minutes, and we'd come up with these parts, and just that process. You come back to those things that are gripping, and then you'll start creating like the structure of the song right there just through a jam. I love that. And lyrically, I usually write the lyrics, and then that was never anything really I collaborated with. Like lyrically, I always have a hard time collaborating with someone. I'm open to the idea, but I've never done that.
I definitely do that myself, but more so because I have someone who has a beautiful way of creating melodies and helping me create melodies that fit my voice, as well as he writes some amazing stuff. So I just kind of will collaborate, and like I'll take his ideas and then just make them my own and totally fuck up the words to where then he's like, that doesn't sound like what I wrote. I'm like, I know.
Yeah. No, it's good just to have other people that you respect and love in the room when you are singing, and maybe they'll sing along and they'll sing something a little bit different. And you're like, oh, I like the way you sing that.
Right.
I want to do that.
Right.
And they might have some suggestions on tweaking some things here and there, and I love that.
But lyrics have always been a very personal thing for you.
Yeah, definitely. Musically, bring it on. Like I love, Kyle Ruggles has been instrumental in the last couple of records. Was my bassist, and he was the bassist for Aspercourt for the last 2 years. But yeah, he's just got a really cool style, and a lot of like the bass lines that kind of influence the guitar lines, were Kyle. And actually, I take that back. So one of the songs on the last record was the first time we actually did like a lyric collaboration. Oh, yeah, although Kyle came with the lyrics. It was the song called Meager Pause.
Nice.
So it was like the clouds come rolling in as the sun goes down. I can't think of words of it. I'm not singing it, but hold on. Yeah, that's not the lyrics. That was me. Anyways, Kyle wrote this whole line about this storm coming in, and he had told me like a bunch of his friends just sitting inside watching it just like destroy the sky, and it was really amazing. And so we started this song, and we came up with the music together, and then later that night I was just excited and I wanted to finish this song. I was looking through my old notebook, and I found this entry where I'm kind of sitting next to my window, looking at the sky, looking at the moon. It wasn't a stormy night, but it was kind of the same vantage point as Kyle's lyrics. And so that was so I ended up writing the chorus of the song, and so the verses were Kyle's experience, kind of watching this storm, looking at the night, and the choruses were mine. And so it was this, the first time really we had ever collaborated on lyrics, I guess. So, yeah.
That's awesome.
Yeah, I temporarily forgot about that.
Right.
Yeah.
I mean, that's a really cool idea, though. And this friend of mine that helped me collaborate that I was speaking about earlier had that with my best friend, John Maestas, who brought a song in like that, and what you're talking about, where he brought in a song with lyrics and everything, and or at least melody and the idea of what he wanted to say. And I think he had like the chorus written out, and so it was just like piecing everything else together, right?
Yeah.
What is it like? What is it like starting to record at your house? I mean, is it? I mean, have you always been someone to like pick up the recording app and capture ideas that way when you're noodling on the guitar, or now that you've like started using Logic a lot more and at least just recording on your computer a lot, has that changed the way you record, or I'm saying the way you write, compose? Yeah,
so just like I have my little notepad for lyrics and stuff. Right. I do voice memo all the time. When I'm jamming. Yeah, I'll pull out the voice memo and record a little snippet of a tune that could potentially turn into a song that goes on an album.
Right, catch it. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, but recording at home has been fun. I really love the process. Been learning, the first album, we did it all at Sound Wall of Sound. Thank you. And so I had all these tracks, and I wanted to make all these changes, but I had to call and get on John's schedule, and then I would go in, and there was a timeline, and we made it work, and it was cool, and I liked those parameters at the time. But
it's not the same when you got to pay for every minute and every dollar, right?
Yeah, exactly. Every second. So I definitely came with my creative ideas, and I didn't do those in the studio.
That is true, right? You definitely come prepared way more. Right. Yeah, you're like, I'm not wasting any time.
It's a different process. Though. You're like, I'm coming prepared. You're like, kind of purse it up, and then you come and you do it, and you hope you can recreate the magic that you did in your room
within the parameters like you're talking about.
Yeah, right. So the second time, I was like, I decided to go the exact opposite way. So there's this new friend who moved into town named Chris Tenerowitz, and I say, Chris, do you know how to record music? He's like, yeah. I was like, dope. You want to record an album? And he's like, yeah. I was like, all right, and that was it. So we practiced, we came ready, and me, Jeff Bell, who just texted me,
nice,
and Kyle Ruggles, we rented out this big warehouse at the Cosmos. Just this really big boomy live sound. So we brought in some partitions from Kyle's mom's office, and brought in all of our own mics, and we recorded the whole album live. We ended up taking those, and we added vocal at my house, and some shaker and percussion and stuff, but 90% of that album was recorded live, which was cool. And it was not this piecemeal thing like we had done before, which is cool and like another creative thing. But this was like, let's just record what happens on this day at this time with this humidity in the air. And I mean, it was actually kind of cold at the time, like having to retune after every song. So that was cool. And what happened, like you compare those two albums, and you can totally hear the difference. You can hear like the room became an instrument, and you can, I love the way this song Honey Jar turned out, because it's like, those drums sound like really wet, and you only can reproduce that in that studio, like it was very, very unique. And I remember just hearing back the first mixes from Chris, and I just like dug it. I knew it was different. It wasn't like the production quality. My voice wasn't like right in front of your face like the first album, but it was something I kind of dug.
Like, what was it? A blending more of your voice within everything?
I guess so. So, anyways, this album I felt this new one was a good fusion of both worlds. We laid down half of it at the studio, and then I got to take home the other half and kind of work within my own time frame, and it was flexible in that regard. And I was able to do it without like a time frame too, like as far as releasing it, I didn't have anyone pressuring me to put it out. And so I was like, I think at the time I wanted to have it out before summer sessions. Like this was, I don't know, 5 months ago or something. And I was like, I want to try to get it out in April or May. That came and went, and it was just nice being like, whatever, it's not done yet. I'm not going to put it out. And then now it's to the point where I was like, let's put it out by October, and it's October 17th now. I'm like still working on stuff, so it's okay.
It's all good, man. The wine will be ready whenever it's ready, right?
Yeah, trying not to rush it.
Yeah, life is. You can't take the cake out before it's ready. It's gonna collapse, man.
So I'm definitely ready to share it.
That's awesome, man. We're all excited to very, very much so get into it and hear it. Yeah. The 2 tracks that I've already heard are amazing, and we're gonna insert a little bit of that music so people can get a little taste of the single right around the time that this single comes out, as this podcast will come out, kind of in proximity with all that stuff coming out. So tell me a little bit about. Actually, you know what? We're gonna take a little break. I need to go to the bathroom before we get into asking more questions and doing all this stuff, my man. And I'm sure we can take a little more cafecito or some water or something.
Bueno.
Okay. And we're back. So we were talking a little bit, of course, refill on the coffee. Cheers, my man.
Cheers, dude.
We're talking a little bit about some of your influences off air. Now, let's get a little bit into that side of things. Who were some of the people that first got you into playing the guitar besides your brother?
Sweet. So I remember right around that age I started playing guitar. I got super into Incubus, and ended up being like a obsession all through high school, and saw them in concert. That was like my first legit concert.
Did you see him in concert here? Or where'd you see him?
Yeah, Tingley Coliseum was the first time with with Hoobastank. Remember Hoobastank?
Wow, my God, memory lane here. Yes.
Yeah, I don't remember what their hit song was, but yeah. Anyways, yeah, I got super into Incubus, and so one of my first songs was "Pardon Me," the acoustic version on my electric guitar. Nice. So Incubus was awesome. That like got me going on the guitar, and then it was freshman year of high school. So I used to go to. Have you heard of Young Life?
No.
It's like this youth group that meets, and actually that's where I met my wife in 7th grade.
What?
Yeah.
Wait, hold on. So you and your wife met in 7th grade? Were you guys high school sweethearts as well?
We were, yeah. We did it all through high school.
Wow. Seriously, Gavin?
Yeah, we're on 5 years of marriage, January 31st.
And how long were you guys boyfriend and girlfriend before that?
This will be our 12th year together.
Holy
I know.
Shit. Excuse me for cursing so much. You're a holy man telling me about all these Christian stuff, but I can't help but curse. That's amazing, my man. 12 years with a woman. And how old are you right now? You're 29, right?
29, yeah.
Damn, bro.
Yeah, so since
hats off to you, my man.
I was a wee little lad.
Congratulations, bro. That's beautiful.
Thanks. I mean, we grew and all through high school and college. We learned a lot about ourselves. We had to take our little breaks, to make sure it was right. But it sure was. But anyways, back then, one of my music inspirations ended up being Jack Johnson. I remember we were on one of those trips. I think I was in 8th grade at this time, and we had rented one of these big, like 12-seater vans, and we just drove to California, and we just checked out all these different neighborhoods, and we were just kind of learning from all these different places around the world, and so I remember being in the back of this van, and one of our leaders, she ran into Borders because Jack Johnson was putting out this little demo CD.
What?
That was
like
being
he was
released
there at Borders?
No, he wasn't there.
Oh,
but she just knew. Like she was CD. A mega fan, and there were 3 tracks on this album, this little demo CD.
Yeah.
And I hadn't ever heard of him before. And so I remember just sitting in the back of this 12-seater van on the ground in the very, very back. Everyone else had their seatbelts on and stuff, and I was snoozing in the back. And I was my ear was right up next to this speaker, and it was these 3 songs, and I would just tell him like, play it again, and I would just listen to these 3 songs over and over and over. One of them was On and On, another was Wasting Time, but it was off of his second record, On and On, and I never had felt music like that hit me so directly in the heart, that was so lyrically based, Incubus was great, and he was very poetic as far as Brandon Boyd, how he writes. But I feel like Jack Johnson kind of showed me at that young age like what it's like to write, from a very special place, and his audience I felt like was that one person he wrote that song about. It was like or his wife or his,
very much
or
so.
whoever.
You feel that when you listen to Jack Johnson's music.
Totally.
Very personal.
So it just kind of opened my eyes like, oh, that's how you write songs. Like you just kind of pick one thing that's like specific to you, and it allows you to be intimate, and you're not writing for anyone else. You don't have an audience, and I loved it, and that's something I took with me. And it was after that trip that I wrote my first song, the one I had mentioned previously, called TikTok. And so I was like, I was into poker at the time. My buddies and I would get together. We were all into Texas Hold'em, like that big craze, and we would meet at one of our houses, and we'd have a $5 buy-in. We'd do a tournament. And
8th grade.
Oh, yeah. 8th grade, freshman year. We got super into it. So anyways, this song just kind of came like, tick-tock, 1:15, and I got to go. I got to start this life, start it right. I need to make a move. You can either limp it in, live it high, throw it in. Oh, gosh, I'm forgetting. But, it was all kind of this like metaphor of like poker in my life, how complicated freshman year, whatever.
Wow.
But that song we played that song every single concert. Like it was one of those songs that lasted,
Your theme song,
that
right.
people knew, and it was just super fun for us to play. It went through all these adaptations.
It was like your first main song.
It was the first main song. Yeah.
Wow, man.
So that was freshman year, and then
so you've had a relationship with writing to the stage early on.
Yeah, I guess so. And I mean,
That's beautiful, man.
Yeah, I definitely. Like I said, I don't like rush through the song, so most of the time when I finish a song, it ends up somewhere. There's only been maybe a handful of songs that I've finished, and I'm like, that this doesn't make the cut. Like, I don't know, I have some friends, my friend Meredith Wilder, who when she was writing a lot, she would write a lot, and then she'd pick from these, a catalog of 20. Like, I picked my favorite 10.
Right.
I'm like, whoa, how is that? Like, I don't know how to do that. I write 10 and I record 10. You got.
Yes, man. This is a conversation I was having with someone in New Orleans the other day. It's interesting because we hear that a lot, and sometimes, at least as people going into the studio or thinking about going to the studio, we put that pressure on ourselves of saying, I need 35 to come down to
have 10
17,
good ones.
right? It's like, it's like, fuck that. It's like, even, I forget which famous jazz musician was talking about this, but it's a reality that when you've got the 10 songs, you're ready.
Yeah.
Go into the studio, or however many songs you want that album to be. When you've got that many songs, take those songs and go into the studio.
Yeah.
And of course, I mean, you can, if that's your process, then that's not, and that's not your process, then hey, every one of us is different, and that's what's beautiful. But I definitely, at least, have felt that way, and it's something about the writing process that when you allow a song to really take its flight and allow it to create itself, it definitely it reveals itself to you in a way, and it allows itself to finish itself, right?
Of course.
A song is truly never finished. You could always keep writing it. It's like I still sometimes will improvise a little bit and play some different versions of the songs that I released on my first album. But eventually, I think it's like they're gonna go somewhere, like you said.
Yeah.
It's like you finish it, you put that much time and attention into a song, and you're gonna use it somewhere, sometime. And even if it's on your 5th record instead of your 1st record.
Yeah, absolutely.
Right.
I was listening to this podcast the other day as you were talking. I was thinking, it just got me going. Have you ever heard the Working Songwriter by Joe Pug?
I haven't heard it. No, I gotta check it out.
Really amazing. He's a singer-songwriter. He does a great job interviewing and doing his podcast. Just letting truths come out in a really natural way, and then you kind of like stops midway and kind of further hammers in that point. That they'll find like a little nugget of truth, like they'll sift through it, and you wouldn't even know just listening to it. And then he'll pause and be like, essentially like, do you hear what he just said? And like, let's go into it. And like, whoa, yeah, that's actually really profound. But one of the things that really stuck with me, we were just on an airplane. I was listening to one of these, and to go along with what you were saying, he was. I'm gonna paraphrase now, but it was from Annie Diller, this writer who said, spend it all, shoot it all. Like don't hoard what you have, like waiting for maybe a better placement later. Like good things always refill, and like these things, they fill up from the cracks and from the wells. And sometimes you put something in a safe only to go back and find that it's ashes. And I like loved that. It's like why wait to put something out for a better time? It's like when you feel the inspiration and you feel so like your heart's telling you to do it, and then that's perfect time to do it. Whenever you, I guess, have that inclination to hoard something, that's the cue to actually just let it go. Release it. Release it. Yeah.
Right.
And all good things in life. And so that's why I've been I eat my favorite candy first now, instead of hoarding it and waiting. It's changed my life.
It's definitely a reality, man, and procrastination, but also like procrastination versus deadline. You know what I mean? All those factors play into you really getting it done. And like, I remember I had someone tell me, I was putting together my first album and was putting ideas and running ideas of who I was gonna have produce it, where I was gonna do it, what bands, what songs, da 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 da. One of my friends sat me down, this guy from Puerto Rico sat me down and he said, listen, man, this is not going to be your masterpiece. Just do it and turn the page, you know what I mean? Move on to the next thing. And he's so right, because at the end of the day, you're going to have issues with it. You're going to be your biggest critic. You're going to listen back and be like, damn, I wish I would have, recorded that vocal a little better or that harmony better, or whatever, you know what I mean? At the end of the day, it's about just doing it, getting it out, and not hoarding is a beautiful way to look at it. You know what I mean? Because at that point, that is what you're doing. You're holding up the space for other things to not come in and fill that crack and that void.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, man.
Yeah. I'm trying to get better at that too. Even now, this record's on the brink, and I'm like, I wonder if I can go in and add new part there in this song. You know,
Yes,
it's a constant thing.
Yes, yeah.
And so,
and speaking about songwriting, podcast, another one that I've been listening to, and I'm gonna check out the one that you told me, of course, but one that I've been checking out, which is a podcast out of the UK. It's called Soda Jerker on songwriting.
Nice.
And it was actually the podcast on Paul Simon, or I actually think it was either Paul Simon or it was Jason Isbell. You know about Jason Isbell?
Not too much.
One of my favorite lyricists today, man. Amazing songwriter. But I actually think it was Jason now that I'm thinking about it more. And he's talking about that same thing. We're beating the idea down into the ground, but that idea of when those 10 songs are ready, then taking them in there. Yeah. And at least for him as a songwriter now, taking off the role of needing to direct the ship and having someone come in as a producer and help out with that vision. Yeah. You know? And it's a collaboration in all forms of it is a beautiful thing, man. So let's get back to the album a little bit. Now tell me, I know you're going to do some music videos with the songs. Yeah. So you said the first song is Honeybee. Is that the name of it?
Honeyless Bee.
Honeyless Bee. There we go.
Yeah.
And maybe the second single you were talking about putting out was maybe going to be, are you going to wait to put all that information out?
No, we can let it out in the world. Right? We're just talking about
yes, right, bro. Come on now.
My first album's called Give It All Away. And that's been another motto. Just like, hey, whatever.
Give it all away, yeah.
Yeah, so there's 10 songs on the album. Mm-hmm. Yeah, I don't know, like I never really know what mentality to take when you're thinking about like what singles. Like, do I put my favorite song? Do I put the song that I think people are gonna like the most?
Right. Or do I do what my friend thinks I should put out?
Right. Should it be like a representation of what you think the whole album's gonna be?
Yes. Yeah.
I don't know. So I'm just kind of going off of like, I'm kind of stoked on this one. I love playing this one live. I think it, unlike the other ones, I think it has like a, maybe not. I don't mean like unlike the other ones, but this one in particular has like a good chorus and a good like hook where the other ones, I feel like I often write, I don't have like a recurring chorus a lot in my songs. I think I'll have like a chorus section, but I always interchange the words. And I'm realizing that as I'm writing. I don't think it was a conscious thing. Like I'm going to make sure I don't say the same thing every single chorus. But like choruses for me have just starting from that first album, like there's a song called Middleman, and every single chorus was like the same phrasing and same melody and stuff, but it was a different metaphor to portray the same idea. Yeah, and so this one in Honeyless Bee is actually like a consistent theme, and it felt right to do that. And so I don't know, maybe that kind of being more of like a maybe recepted better by like a general audience. The first one coming out, and then another song is called Matchbox. We were just listening to in the kitchen.
Yes.
That one's fun. I love playing that one live, and it's very much like it lends itself to a looper pedal, and so sometimes I'll do that one live with a looper because it's awesome. It just builds every couple phrases, like it adds a new instrument, and I love those in songs. It's like, oh, there's a shaker coming in, there's like a Rhodes, and then there's an organ. It kind of keeps you like your ears perked up for what's going to be coming next, and it kind of comes in together big at the end. So Matchbox is an idea for a second release, and then just a couple weeks ago, I wrote out on Instagram, hey, if you're interested in hearing a couple of the songs, send me your email address, and I got a slew of emails, and so I sent out Lost Boy and Honeyless Bee. So Lost Boy might be the other one. It's kind of a more like a groovy kind of funky tune.
I love them. Yeah. I love all three of those tunes that I've heard so far, man. It's going to be exciting. And we're going to put some links, of course, for people to be able to get in touch with you and check out some of those songs themselves, as well as we'll play maybe one of those tunes of your choosing. It is always a hard thing to think about whenever you're thinking about what single to put out and stuff like that.
Yeah.
As you were saying that, I was remembering this amazing book that I'm starting to really get into that was recommended from a guitar player friend out of Denver, Colorado named Darren Skansen. It's a book called How to Make It in the New Music Industry, or in the New Music Business, excuse me. And it's something I recommend all musicians go check out. And I personally haven't done this yet, but for my next album, I'm definitely going to plan on doing this. But in terms of this direct thing that we're talking about, where you're saying it is a hard thing to ask yourself, which single, what do I put out there? Mm-hmm. There are actually some websites that offer like actual peer review, not peer review in the sense of like, like your peers that but just like a random assortment of people that the website sends out different music to, and like 3 tunes of an artist, you know what I mean? And from those 3 tunes, they pick which one they think should be the single.
Yeah,
right.
No, that's cool. That's helpful.
Yeah, man. Yeah, I haven't done it yet, like I said, but I plan on doing it. I heard it from this book, and it's something so useful that it's like, it helps take that weight off of us, that stress of being like, did I pick the right single? Is it like, did it give the right portrayal? Because it's the trailer for the album.
Oh yeah,
so
exactly.
You definitely want to get as many eyes and as big record labels do. You know what I mean? They send it to. They do tests with it, right?
Yeah.
I forget what the terminology is in the music business, of course, but they do screenings of different people and different age groups, and they're like,
polls and whatnot.
Yeah, this song doesn't really work. This isn't really good. How about this? Let's do Daughters. Okay, Daughters, John Mayer. Yeah, is that going to be okay? He's like, no, I'm going to be the soft, mushy, girly guy. And they're like, well, this is going to fucking work, okay? And he made millions of dollars, and yeah, he dealt with it.
Yeah, and then it gets into a realm. It's like, I don't know how much I want to spend in that realm of doing things. But
right.
Yeah, what I've been doing, I guess my pull sample is very small. Like I said, Heath, I sent it to a couple people. Like, hey, out of these songs, what do you think?
Which one? Yeah.
Heath had listened to like maybe half the record, and he's like, oh, maybe Lost Boy would be cool. He's like, I'm not sure. I'll keep thinking. And then I was like, listen to Honeyless Bee. That's the one I was kind of thinking. And he writes back. He said, ha ha ha, for sure, Honeyless Bee, like hands down, do that one.
Yes. Yeah.
And of course, he's like I said, he likes all the hooks and the pop stuff, and so he's like, do that one.
When you're able to capture someone like that with a tune like that, for sure. I mean, beyond for us, the artist that we think is like, this is the most beautiful song, like the most, maybe not profound and deep meaning, but like the deepest hitting song of the songs that I have or whatever. But at the end of the day, it's like, it's more just about what makes people move, I think, right? But what makes people move and connects them.
Sure.
With the melody, with the harmony, with the feeling. You know what I mean?
Well, and I want to invite them into the album, because there's other songs
that
maybe are deeper, and that I think people, like their favorite song maybe on the record won't be Honeyless Bee, but it might be. But there's a couple others that are my favorites for sure, that I won't release, until the full album.
Yes. Yeah. So speaking about the writing process and about this business aspect of things, beyond Heath and some of the people from Aspercord, who are some of the people that have really helped you along your solo career, like the process of kind of breaking free, so to speak, and stepping out, right?
Sure. Yeah. No, you need a good support. I mean, my wife, obviously, she's supportive all along the way, and I screen the songs by her, and she's not one to blow smoke and be it's a great song. It's like,
be nice.
Do you like it? Like, you didn't say anything. Like you walked out of the room and I was singing it. But she's always kind of like listening. Always, I just she'll tell me when she doesn't like it, which is great. And if she doesn't say anything and she's in the other room, I'm like, okay, she probably liked it. She didn't say like, that was stupid, change that. No, she's very sweet.
Yeah.
So Kay, obviously. I think that's been like a good support. Like I love playing. I've played with Kyle forever, and Jeff Bell. He was in this band called the Limbs. If you remember the Limbs back in Albuquerque, they moved up to San Francisco, and he's in the Bay Area. So, just having that good support of musicians around you is good. What was I gonna say? I lost my train of thought. Yeah. Again, let me drink more coffee. Give me a second.
Now, something I wonder about, certainly with many of my friends that are married, or as they move along their married life and stuff, the idea of kids and stuff like that, I'm sure you and your wife definitely plan on being parents and stuff like that down the road, or is that something you don't think about?
Well, we just got a couple.
You just got puppies. Tell me, bro. Tell me about the new additions to the family, to the Herig family over there.
Man, yeah, I don't know what it's like to have babies. We have nieces and nephews. We love kids. Like, we're around, hundreds of kids a week with Rock 101. Mm-hmm. And so, we haven't had like a huge desire to have any of our own.
Yes.
With our own DNA.
You got enough right now, right?
Oh, yeah. No, we got a big family. We love to shower love on all of the kids. But, we just adopted 2 little puppies, which is crazy. We love our dog Nina. We have a 12-year-old Jack Russell Terrier, and we've always wanted to get her a friend. She had a brother Joey who passed away like 4 years ago, and so we've been looking to get another dog, and we were gonna adopt an old dog, and then surfing Instagram, my friend's post, he's like, hey, he's posted this picture of this cute little puppy. His parents were fostering this litter of 6.
Wow.
So we went and checked him out and had a play date. Ended up falling in love with the little runt as well. They named him Brett. We changed his name to Jones, an ode to my old golden retriever Quincy Jones.
Nice.
So yeah,
Quincy
now we have,
Jones.
Oh yeah, not that one, but
which one?
Yeah, I don't know. He was his own. Not like the producer, the musician Quincy Jones.
Named him Quincy Jones,
because that's hilarious. But no, his name is Quincy, and then I don't know. We loved Indiana Jones at the time.
Oh, I got you.
Whatever. So,
I like it.
Anyways, yeah. So 3 dogs now.
Oh man, beautiful.
That's been my life last week. But.
So, what is coming up for you in the release of the album and stuff? Do you already have the album show planned? The album release show?
No, I haven't given the actual show too much thought. Last album we had the show ready, and then like right after the show we did a 2-week stint up the coast.
Yeah.
And I wanna hit that again. We did a lot of house shows, living room shows, and I loved that atmosphere, especially for some of these songs. And if I'll be playing some of it solo, I like the intimacy of the living room. So. Yeah, we have our spots and our friends and our venues up the coast. Denver and San Diego, and San Francisco. And up in Seattle, where we have a lot of friends, and so we'll probably do a little tour at some point. But everything right now with music, I got to make sure it just aligns with the balance of life, And so, like I said, I don't have to break my back being on tour months and months out of the year. So yeah, I'm trying to do music in like a different kind of way where kind of like on my terms, and so far it's working out all right. So yeah, the CD release hopefully in December.
Awesome. Mm-hmm. So keep an eye out for that, people.
Yeah.
And I'm excited, man. It's your 3rd album, 3rd release.
Mm-hmm.
And well, it's been really very, very, very cool, and kind of a little. Sorority dream of mine to meet you and become friends with you from back in the day, bro. So it's been really cool, kind of also from a distance, because I know Motanya was recording horns on your album and stuff, and so from kind of hearing about that from back then, I was just like, man, I gotta get with Kevin and do a little podcast to catch up and see what your idea was, with putting music out there in the world again, as well as like what you do with the music school and stuff like that. So before we wrap up, just kind of a question is what was your idea with the music school? What started? Like what was the catalyst for that?
Yeah, I really started. I went to UNM and I was in business school, and one of my entrepreneurial business classes was write a business plan and then present it. And so I was like, I'm gonna write this one. And so I wrote the plan for Rock 101. And really, with no real plans of doing it, with launching it. But then I was graduating in a couple months. I was like, I don't know. I don't really want to get a real job.
Work.
Whatever, quote unquote. Right. And so I planned on just, playing music and teaching lessons. And so we decided to give it a shot.
Had you been teaching lessons before that?
Yeah, just kind of driving around town doing private lessons. And so I had my own
a couple
clients.
A week?
No, probably like 20 or so a week. That was like my main gig.
That's quite a bit, yeah.
Through college.
So you've been teaching since high school as well, or not since high school, just into college?
College, yeah.
And was teaching something you always just kind of gravitated towards? You like just kind of sharing with people, or what?
Yeah, I don't know. I think my mom was like set up originally like my first couple of lessons. I didn't know I could be a teacher. Like she's so well connected, and she's the first one to be like, "Hey, my son's a musician."
Your mom is the catalyst, bro.
Oh,
she
my
puts
mom
you to work.
Oh yeah, they're great. Every time they're traveling around town, they take a handful of CDs and they hand them to people. Yeah,
wow.
they're fun. So anyways, it was probably one of my mom's clients. She was a personal trainer, and my mom's client probably said something like, "My daughter wants to learn how to play guitar," and my mom offered my services, and I'm like, I guess this is my new gig. So, yeah, my mom was a catalyst. Wow,
that's amazing.
And then, so anyways, early on, I never knew Rock 101 to turn into what it is now, as far as a community, a thriving community
the success that it is,
of people.
Man. Truly, yeah.
Oh, thank you.
Yeah, man.
But really,
I mean, all you guys are still needing is your own building, right? But I mean, like, you need that, right? It's like you're just taking like the Jack Black philosophy into the churches, right?
Of course. Yeah.
Taking the kids and being like, let's play some rock. You get a band, you play some AC/DC, you get in this band, you play whatever. It's like.
Totally. Yeah.
I'm sure they're not playing Highway to Hell in the church, though, right?
Yeah, we definitely have to screen some of the lyrics.
Yeah, right.
The church is super cool. They're awesome. So we rent out of the church, and it's great. I mean, they use it on Sundays, and they have this amazing, huge facility, and so we take over the rooms. Every room right now has drums and piano and guitar and bass and amps. Wow. And
how many bands did you say?
Big stage.
You guys had this past summer, I should say.
We had 170 kids, which
170 kids. Yeah. Jesus, man.
So each session would probably have 5 to 6 bands.
Wow.
And so we'd have a concert every Friday. Wow. And so now there's bands that have been together,
have formed,
yeah. They do
program.
Weekly band rehearsals now. And
I mean, it's a beautiful thing to realize that what got you into performing in your musical career, which was starting a band at a young age, is something that you've given to other people now.
Just so
some work from your mom.
Do it. Yeah, I mean
a business plan at UNM. Yeah. Through then the execution of being like, do I really want to go wait tables or teach some guitar on a better level or whatever, the opportunities were out there for you work-wise. But to now be doing that and have that be your a huge support system, which is from your music and from your guitar playing and from learning and loving music, to then being able to put out music and continue being a successful within our own means of what success is, artist, and doing it on your own terms.
Sure, yeah, right? And that the livelihood is so close to my passion. I mean, it's all in the same circle. I know that it's very rare, and I'm just stoked that it is what it is, and I'm super blessed.
We're blessed to be able to make a living doing what we love.
Yeah, no doubt.
Right. Mm-hmm. Well, I appreciate you coming on the podcast, my man. Claudio. We're definitely going to play some of the songs to exit out this podcast, and I'll embed some of the links so people can check out the single, your website, and the other things that you want to put out there for the people. But thank you for coming on, my man.
Appreciate you, man.
Until the next time, all right?
Alrighty.
Thank you, man.
Adios.
That was the episode. Thank you so much for listening. Now, as I mentioned at the beginning of this episode, I'm going to play another song from that album, Stubborn Heart, which is available December 7th everywhere. This song is called Little Brother, and it features my man, Mr. Ryan Montano. Rockin' tune, and I know you're going to enjoy it. So sit back and enjoy Little Brother.
Well, always think about what you're singing, honey. What your mind is brewing, what your heart is holding, and where your feet are running. After where they've been, coals they've walked through. What's a little fire gonna do? And it's following you. You're all alone, but for that stone that you got stuck in your shoe. Time that we steal, kick up the dirt, each minute burns just like the thread on your wheel. Retrace the trail, seldom used. I passed the brakes, wiped the dust off flowers never bloomed. Replace the pain of 32. You're as strong as you are honest, and that truth is slowly killing you. And it's following you. You're all alone, but for that stone that you got stuck in your shoe. In the time that we steal, up the dirt, each minute turns just like the spokes on your wheel. September moon. Thoughts that dwell on top of thoughts, on top of thoughts. Well, you've got the wrong idea. Belief is not what you choose. It's a shadow cast, eroding stone. It's an undertone. It's like loving you. Following